Take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, just let everything out. Let go of competition, judgment, expectation, and continue laying on your back. And begin to just rock your pelvis back and forth from your belly button to your tailbone. And feel the connection of your body from the pelvis. So when your tailbone comes down, your chin might come up a little, and when your belly button comes down, your chin goes towards your knees. You could even place your hands on those hip bones, and you're just gently rocking back and forth, feeling the connection of your body to the mat. You can keep your eyes open or closed. And all I'd love for you to do right now is just focus on your breath. Then focus on the connection of your body to the breath and how your body reacts as it's moving. The next time your tailbone comes down, just let yourself open up a little. And then as you exhale, press that lower back into the mat. No space between your body and the floor. And then gently let yourself find neutral spine. So you're on your sacrum, your hip bones are pointed to the ceiling, and your hands are down by your sides. Can you flatten out your shoulder blades underneath you and just lift your right leg up into tabletop? Staying here, tap your right foot down from the hip joint 4 times. Bring your right foot back next to your left and lift your left leg up into tabletop and do the same thing. So we're just moving, your knee stays in a 90-degree angle. Come back down, both feet down, and alternate legs up and down. Just a couple. We're just warming up. We're getting into our minds, our bodies. We're working on letting go of the thoughts that really don't belong right now and in focusing on what we are doing now. Bring your right leg back up and bring your left leg to meet it. And then bring your knees closer towards your head. And then bring them back so that your knees are right over your hip bones. Drop your heels a little and lift them up so your shins are parallel to the floor. Let's flex our toes towards our head and then point them away. And then find wherever you feel good for your feet. You can roll them out, whatever feels good. And then we're just going to do those pelvic tilts again with our knees above our hips, our shins as parallel to the floor as possible. And notice what happens when you're doing it like this. I'm actually beginning to feel my abdominal muscles kicking in. I'm beginning to shake a little. And then find your way to neutral spine. So neutral spine, you will still feel yourself very active. Now from here, drop one leg at a time. So you're extending from the hip bone. You're keeping those knees in the angle they are. And the reason I say this is whenever I do this, no matter how many years I've been doing this, I see this a lot. I see the can. So you really want to go from the hip joint. The next time your left leg comes down, bring it back up. Come back to your tabletop and let both legs drop a little bit to the right. Come back center, and as you exhale, let both legs drop a little bit to the left. Come back center, and let's just do that a little bit, side to side. And as you do this, notice what your knees look like. So when I go to the left, I want to shift my right leg a little more forward so that my knees are directly on top of each other. Come back center, wrap your hands around your shins, and let's just take some simultaneous circles. So we're doing some femur circles, getting into those hip sockets. It feels really good. And reverse it. Come back center, let both feet come back down to the mat, reach your hands to the ceiling. So I'd like for you to keep your head looking towards the ceiling, maybe more towards like where the wall meets the ceiling, but not so much that your chin goes to your chest. And we're going to plug our shoulder blades into the mat and then separate them. So we're just going to plug and release, and your elbows stay straight. So while we're doing this, I want to connect some thought processes to everybody. So keep doing this, and I'm going to show you, if you can see me. So from here, I'm just going to do this in a modified plank. When I ask you to do this, it's the same thing that you are doing right now on your back. So your arms are straight and you're reaching up and down and you're not bending your elbows. So I want you to remember this to connect your mind to how you can do this movement without bending your elbows. Then from here, plug those shoulder blades in. Hands could be however feels right to you as you bring one arm behind you at a time. And as you do that, feel the connection of your shoulder blade. Feel how your shoulders move in this position. Notice if you feel it traveling, maybe to your neck, maybe to your fingers. Bring both arms back. And the only reason I bring that up is because we had that discussion. And you can go all the way down and up. Think of exhaling as you go back, keeping your ribs anchored into the mat. Next time your arms come up, I want you to open them to the side, bring them by your hips and bring them back up. So we're going to do a few arm circles in this direction. Good. And you keep your heads facing towards the ceiling. I'm turning my head so I can see you. And then bring both arms down, and we're going to flatten everything up. Connect your arms to the floor. Feel the back of your arms as you extend your fingers forward and you lift up just your elbows, arms, and everything about, like an inch off the floor at the most. From here, just bend from that elbow joint and press back down. So even though we're not using weights, we're not using any resistance, I'd like for you to feel a resistance that you create within yourself. So as you come down, I want you to feel those triceps beginning to work. It's not going to knock you out, but I just want you to feel the motion, the movement. One more time, bring your arms back to the ceiling. And from here, take your hands and place them behind your head. Let's lift our elbows just enough that you can see them in your peripheral vision. I want you to imagine the shape of a hammock. And as you exhale, press your ribcage into the mat to lift your head and shoulders off the mat and allow your head to rest into your hands. My hope is that you can really feel the connection of a release in the back of your neck. And then come back down. We do a couple of those. As you exhale, lift, let your head rest into your hands and come back down. The next time you come up, exhale, lift, head rest, reach your hands up and over, wrap your hands around your hamstrings, and just bend your elbows a little. See if you can get those shoulders further off the floor. And then bring your hands back under your head without dropping and come back down. I'd like to do 4 more of those. So you exhale to lift, hands come up and over, lift a little higher. Don't let yourself drop as you bring your hands back and come back down. Exhale, lift, up and over, little higher, stay there, bring your hands behind your head, come back down. 2 more times. Exhale to lift, hands behind those hamstrings, lift a little higher, hands behind the head, come back down. Exhale, lift, hands behind the hamstrings, lift a little higher, hands behind the head, and come back down. And I hope that felt like something to everybody. And then we're going to bring our legs back into tabletop, hands to the sky. As you bring your right arm back, bring your left leg forward, come back in and alternate. So one arm, one leg. See if you can keep the leg that is staying stable. Notice if one leg wants to move more than the other. Hopefully you begin to notice your abdominal muscles kicking in. And if you'd like, instead of just going back and up, see if you can do it continuously. And if you'd like, you can bring your arms all the way down. And to really mess you up, maybe change the arm movement. I don't even know if I can. That's it. Excellent. And then wrap your hands around your hamstrings. Let your legs rest for a moment. Come back to that tabletop position. Nod your head a little, and then I want you to poke your toes towards the wall in front of you and slowly roll all the way up to sitting. Keep your knees bent. Start by rolling back into your pelvis and roll that spine nice and slow. Think of delaying by dragging those heels on the mat as you roll all the way back down. I'd like you to try a couple just like this and really explore. Is there any position you feel stuck in? Can you feel your spine articulating? Can you find the control within your body and your breath? Exhale to lift. Now, if you feel like that's super easy and you want a little more of a challenge, straighten out your legs. Arms are like this and start to roll back with your legs straight. Bring your hands back above your head. As you exhale, come up and find out where you got stuck. Maybe you didn't get stuck. Maybe you're really accomplished here. Let's try just two more. I'd love for you to think about when you're coming up, think about really anchoring your feet into the mat. I can see exactly where I need to work a little more. So maybe stop where you feel yourself stuck and come up and down a little more. And come back down. And last time, come all the way up. And I'd love for everybody to grab their foam rollers. So I'm taking a chest. We're going for some thoracic extension, but we're doing it on our backs. So grab your foam roller or your towel, whatever you have to help give you some elevation. And just like we were just doing, I want you to start to roll back and find that position. I'm kind of aiming at the bottom of my shoulder blades. I'm sort of right in the middle there. Hands behind your head again. Hammock shape, and allow that head to rest into your hands. So most of us are not going to feel much of anything, but it should feel real comfortable, like you're lazing in a hammock. Some of us might feel it in our necks. It really just depends on what's happening with you. So from here, we're going to do this backwards today. I'd like you to lift your hips, and we're just going to roll up and down and get a nice massage in the shoulders. So take a moment and notice if your chin is jammed into your chest. Can you allow yourself to just let your head rest back into your hands? Now take a moment and find that position, I've traveled a lot here, where you're pretty much at the lower part of those shoulder blades, and keep your hips on the floor as you bring your body back. Think of exhaling to go back. Inhale when you get there and exhale to come up. You may, if you prefer, I'd love for everybody to stay exhaling back, but you can inhale up if that works for you. And play around. You'll notice I'm moving a little bit to see how it feels, to see where I need to be today. Same thing with you. If you feel good and you can get your head to the floor and it doesn't bother you, keeping your hands behind your head, you can open and close your elbows and see how that feels. And you keep doing that. I'm going to just turn my head to look at you. I just want you to breathe. And I'm going to throw a little quote I love from yoga. I love Baron Baptiste, and he has a book, and I can't remember. Anyway, the quote he says, as you exhale, come up and go back to rolling up and down, is the words now, here, and nowhere. It's the same letters in the same order, but they're split up differently. So I love that because when you think about it, you are either now here in the present moment or you're nowhere because you're not connected. So can we find ourselves here now? And then if it feels okay to you, I'd like for you to place that roller right under your neck. I like a smaller roller for this. And just roll your head side to side. My hope is this feels really good. Just a little side to side. Maybe one side needs it more than the other. Whatever works for you. That's the quote of the day. And now here nowhere. Okay, come back center, release the roller. And we're going to set it aside for now, just set it out of your way. And I'd like for everybody to lay onto their left side. So find your way onto your left side. And ideally, I'd like for you here, but if it doesn't feel great to you, you can lay on your side, whatever works for you. I'm going to start stopping that. And if you can, I'd like for you to be in one long line. And just for a moment, let's sink and lift out of that shoulder. I want you to feel what support feels like. Find your support and just lift that left hip off the floor. Making sure that everything is aligned. If you need a little help here, if you're really finding this super easy, you could do it with your legs straight. And right now that is not happening for me. So there's things that could be happening with you that make you need to take it down a notch. This is me on this side. If you feel really strong and good here, you want an extra challenge, lift your hips and lift that top leg. Maybe lift that top arm. Come back down. Everybody lay all the way down. Lift your feet off the mat and let's open and close that top knee. Six, two more, 7 and 8, and then keep the knees bent, not like 90 degrees, just about here. Lift your top leg so it's parallel to the floor and begin swinging that top leg back and forth. And if you feel pretty good here, add an opposition with your arm. And then bring your legs straight. If you need to, go back to the bent knee. Hips are on top of each other. Take a moment and just sort of roll your hips back and forth. I just want you to see what that feels like. Can you find your hips parallel on top of each other? Lift that top leg, point that top foot and draw a tiny circle as if you're trying to draw a circle in the wall in front of you. Excellent. The straighter the leg, the more energy. Reverse it. You could always keep the bottom leg bent if you're having a challenge in balance. Now from here, bring the leg a little bigger. So like a volleyball. We're not to the big beach ball yet. Reverse it, so just about a volleyball size or a frisbee. And now let's do not quite a big fit ball, like a big beach ball. And reverse it. Use your breath. Flex that top foot. Bring your leg as far forward as you can, maintaining your pelvic balance, and then bring your foot back. So you want to keep the pelvis stable as you kick it forward and kick it back. And use your arm if you feel good about it. And remember, you can always bend that bottom leg. The more you bend the bottom leg, the easier this is. It doesn't take the work away, but it helps with your balance. Go ahead and rest. And I want you to bend that front leg and let it rest in front of you. Everybody's probably really happy I asked you to do that. And from here, reach your right arm forward. If it feels okay to you, grab your top leg with your bottom hand. Reach your top arm forward, bring it to the ceiling. Watch out that your arm isn't by your head like this. I'd like it to be telescoping from your armpit. And then start to feel the shoulder reaching towards the floor as you turn to look over that top hand and see how far you can get. I want you to just stay here and breathe and feel your spine lengthening. Think of it as decompression. And you'll see I'm grabbing that top leg with my bottom hand and gently pressing my leg away from my body. Let's take 2 deep breaths here. Now I'm going to unravel and I'm going to bring both legs on top of each other. Hold the back of the head with both hands. Elbows are on top of each other. Lift up your top elbow. Pull your shoulder towards your hip and start to roll back again. See if you can keep those knees stacked on top of each other. It's okay if they end up sliding a little. And just keep looking over that top shoulder. It's okay if your arm doesn't make it to the floor. Just take your time and breathe. Feel yourself opening up. I have a student friend that told me they loved when I would tell you to open yourself up to wonderful possibilities. Unwind back to where you were. Press your top hand into the floor and come up to sitting. Come into Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, knees apart. And we're just gonna lift and lower those knees, hopefully feeling those inner thighs opening up. Stay here as those knees reach towards the floor. Grab your ankles and lean forward. And look at your feet as if they're the most interesting book in the world that you want to read, and you really are nearsighted. You need to look as close as possible as you can. Feel those inner thighs lengthening. And come back up to sitting. And now we're going to play a fun little game. I want you to scooch forward on your mat and grab your big toes with your index fingers and middle fingers. And we're just going to see if we can balance right here. So my feet are off the mat, but I'm balanced on my hip bones or my bottom bones. And we're going to come up into a wide-legged boat pose. So notice if one leg is tighter than the other, bend your knees, heels together, come back up to sitting. We're going to come up again, come into that wide-legged boat pose. Really press your feet into your hands, come back down and roll back. Let's do that one more time. Come back, find your balance, come back down and come back. Okay, let's extend both legs forward and just see how it feels to sit up tall like this. And I want you to notice if you're starting to pull into your hip flexors or your quadriceps. Are you able to sit up into this position without feeling any strain? If you need to, you can lean back a little bit. You can use your hands to lift you up a little, or maybe you can put something under your behind to help you. Let's reach our arms up, and I want you to think of pressing your lower back into a wall as you reach forward. Keep everything aligned. Head, neck, and shoulders are aligned as you reach forward. You should feel the back of your legs. Come back up. Bring your hands behind you. I'm not sure if this is for everybody. So what I'd like for you to do to start is bring your feet to the mat and bend your elbows a little and then press up. And I want you to think of energizing through your hands to lift your hips off the mat and then come back down. You may not get there, but I'd love for you to really focus. You can bend and really straighten your arms to start. As you straighten your arms, think of levitating to lift those hips up and come back down. If you need a break, take it. If that was okay, extend both legs. Same thing. First, I want you to really find that extension in your back. And lift your hips up as if somebody put a crane under your hips and come back down. And let's come back up and squeeze and widen your hands. Let's do that. It's a lot of pressure in the wrists, and I didn't want to go there too long, but I also thought that might help with feeling the hands stretching. So let's come back to here and bend your right knee. Cross your right foot over your left leg. Hug your right leg with your left hand. Bring your right hand behind you. Sit nice and tall and look over your right shoulder. If this feels good to you and it doesn't bother your legs, go ahead and bend that bottom leg and notice what happens when you do that. If that's okay for you, can you bring your left arm on the outside of that right leg as you look over your right shoulder? Sorry, I'm getting all backwards. And then we're going to come, if it's okay for you, to come into a seated prayer twist. Pressing your palms together, looking over your right shoulder. I want you to take one deep breath, unwind, and switch legs. So start with just your left leg bent. This is the base place. You decide where you want to progress. So you might stay here the whole time. If it feels okay, cross that leg over your bottom leg. Hug that leg with your opposite hand and bring the opposite hand, or the same hand behind you. Sit up tall, look over that shoulder. If it feels okay, take your arm on the outside of that leg. If it feels okay, bend the leg that was extended on the floor. So you'll see I'm modifying on this side. I don't have my arm on the outside of that leg. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can go for that seated prayer twist. So you press your palms together, looking over the top shoulder. Woo! And come back center. I have not done that in 100 years. Okay, so come back. And we're going to go right into a little ab work. So I want you to come back down, all the way down, nice and slow. And we're going to just take your left hand on your right shin and your right hand on the outside of that right ankle. Press your legs into your hand. Let your head, neck, and shoulders come up. Lift your left leg. We're here. You're going to energize and switch. Up and switch. And up. I'm exhaling every single time I press my leg into my hands. If your neck starts to bother you, you can put that foam roller there so that you don't have to go all the way down, but you have a little lift and you're just working on the belly. And then everybody relax. Let's go into those femur circles. And reverse it. Bring both feet down. You can take the roller away if you had it. And I just want to come into the pelvic tilts again. Little pelvic tilts. Start to peel up into a bridge. Get those hips off the mat. You really want some extension in the front of the hips and come back down. And let's lift up again. And slowly come down. Now, I'd like everybody, if you have anything that will help lift you up, place your feet on the roller or whatever you have, maybe a couple blocks. And we're going to come back up into bridge. So if you need, you can use your hands to help you. I'd like you to keep those hips up and just bring that right leg up into tabletop. You're going to extend the right leg next to the left, come up and back to the knee, up and back to the knee, up, back to the knee. One more time, back to the knee, bend it in, bring it down, roll back down. Then we're going to come back up again. So you can do this all on the floor without your feet on the roller, but I think the roller actually makes it easier. Lift your left leg up, extend it to the sky, bring it next to the right leg, up and down. Keep those hips even, up and down. One more. Bend the knee, come back down, lift the hips a little higher, but keep that rib cage down. One long line, and slowly come back all the way down. Grab the roller, place it right next to your body. Peel yourself up again and let your sacrum rest on the roller. Bring your right leg into your chest. Extend your left leg straight. Want to give us a little hip opener, get that quadricep opened up. Allow your right leg to rest into your hands and circle your right foot from the ankle joint. Reverse the circle. And let's switch legs. So you're hugging your left shin, your right leg is pressing through the floor. Rub it if you're feeling it in here. It should feel like you're just unwinding, decompressing. Circle your left foot from the ankle joint. Reverse the circle. Bring both legs up into tabletop. And then just start to roll your legs side to side again. And I'm hoping you're in a position that you could actually feel a massage in your hips. It should feel kind of good. This feels good and you'd like to add on when you let your legs drop to the left, extend your right leg, come back center, go to the right, extend your left. You can stay here, or maybe you'd like to extend both legs when you go side to side, and maybe you just want to go side to side with the legs straight. Just watch that the legs don't start going towards your head. You want to see if you can keep them aligned. Think of lengthening through the back of your knees. Come center, bend your knees, place your feet to the mat. Come back into bridge, release the roller and set it away. Okay, so hands back behind the head. Exhale, lift your head, neck, and shoulders. Let your head rest into your hands. Remember, you can always relax your head and neck down if you need to. Just bring your right leg up, aim your left shoulder towards the right knee. So your left arm is a little bit behind. Come back center, switch. So I want you to alternate. And the idea is that we're really twisting from the rib cage as opposed to aiming your elbows like this. Start to extend the opposite leg, keeping the knee that's bent over the hip joint or hip point, bone. Use your breath. Inhale, center, exhale, extend. Inhale, center, exhale, extend. Inhale, center, exhale, extend. Let's do about 50 more. You know my wily ways. Just 2 more. And hug those knees in and circle. So I am willing to lay big bets that everybody thought I forgot the other side. If you thought I forgot the other side, you are correct. I remembered it now. So we're gonna come to laying on your right side. I'm gonna be honest. I did forget, but I remembered right now. So we're here on our right side, and I want you to think of the elbow being right in line with the armpit. And if you can see yourself in the camera, or if you have a mirror if you're watching the video, I want you to think about how your head, neck, and shoulders are aligned. A lot of times we do weird things with our heads and we're not aware of what's happening with the rest of our body. I'd like everybody to start with their knees bent and still keep that alignment. So your knees are in line with your shoulder. And you're just gonna lift and lower and just see how that feels. And if this is nothing to you, then extend those legs so you get more of a challenge. So I'm going to be honest and tell you I'm keeping my knees bent because I'm tired. If I wasn't tired, I'd push it, but I am. So come back up, hold it, extend that top leg and top arm, see how that feels, and come back down. And we're going to, you can stay up here, you can lay on your side, both knees bent, lift the top leg and swing that top leg front and back. Notice, and this is what happens to me a lot, are you starting to sink into the head shoulder? Can you keep yourself lifted? If you're getting super tired, just lay on your side. If you feel any discomfort, adjust yourself as long as you're aligned. And then go ahead and flex that top Foot forward, point that top leg back. So I'm going to follow my own advice. Hold this, get that nice stretch. Come back center, your choice. You can stay up here, you can stay down, and let's circle that top foot like you're drawing a little tennis ball. And reverse the circle. This is an option. You can let your head rest into your hand. Let's reverse the circle and draw a frisbee. Watch for the urge to move crazy. Keep everything stable. Reverse. Ooh, I hope everybody's feeling this. And remember, yeah, you can bend that leg as much as you need to. Let's draw a bigger circle and notice if you're sinking down. Can you lift back up or do that? Lay on your side. Reverse the circle. Find that pelvic stability. Bring your legs together, lift your feet up, and we're just going to open and close that top leg. I'm going for 8. Just 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. And we're going to lay with yourself laying here. Bring your top leg forward, extend your bottom leg straight. Extend your top arm forward, reach it to the ceiling. You can always grab your top leg with your bottom hand and start to look over your top arm. Take a couple breaths here. Really find yourself lengthening the spine. Feel the decompression. Come back, bring your knees on top of each other. Hold the back of your head with your hands. Pull your shoulder blades towards your hips. Lift that top elbow. Roll back into that shoulder. Keep those knees on top of each other as much as possible as you look over that left elbow. To exhale, come back center. And I'd like you to push your top arm into the floor and come back up to sitting. So we're going to come to our hands and knees. And if you need to do a wardrobe adjustment, this is a good time. So I'm going to give you a couple options. We'll start up here. And so the best advice I can give you if your hands are bothering you is you can either stay here, really press up, feel the separation in your fingers, or maybe come to fist for wrist. It takes it out of the wrist. But I want it to be whatever works for you. So it's like I'm punching. I'm going to keep it with my hands wide. And just bring your right leg back. Keep your foot on the mat. Hips are even. Head and neck is looking down. And we're just going to lift that right leg up. So when I say down, I don't want you to drop your head. I want you to be in alignment. As if there is something coming out of the crown of your head and there's something coming out of your right leg as you lengthen up. If you're good here and you can maintain this, I'd love for you to lift your left arm up, lengthen, and exhale, come back down and switch. Left leg extends. First, feel that your hips are even. And a good way to test that out is just kind of move your hips up and down. I really want you to feel the alignment of the pelvis. Lift that top leg. Another good thing you can do is imagine your inner thigh spiraling to the sky. We're levitating off our hands. You're reaching your top arm forward. Really lengthen. Feel as if somebody is pulling your hand and foot in opposite directions. Exhale down. Curl your toes underneath you. Shift your hips back towards your heels as far as you're able without any pain. You should feel a big stretch in your feet. Come back forward. Let's try that again. And whatever you need to do, I'm going to give you a little break on your wrists. So you have 2 options for this next sequence. You can stay up here. I personally prefer to come down to my forearms. I'm going to grab my opposite elbow with my opposite hand. My shoulders are right over the elbows, and then I'm going to re-extend my arms forward. Head and neck is completely relaxed, and you'll notice if you relax your head and neck, you will feel a release in your neck. From here, bring your right leg up so that it's in a 90-degree angle. And all I'd love for you to do is just bring that leg down and up. Keep your hips even, let your head relax. Is your belly dropping? Can you feel your belly button reaching towards the ceiling? Keep your leg up, extend your right leg straight, and we're just gonna bend and straighten that right leg. Press into those forearms so you're not sinking into your neck. Extend that right leg straight and just dip and lift the right leg. I don't care if your foot is pointed or flat, whatever feels right to you. Bring your right knee next to your left leg and change sides. So take a moment, sink into those shoulders, see how that feels, and then I want you to press into your forearms to lift up, extend your left leg back, lift your left leg so it's parallel to the floor, bend your left knee, and then you're just gonna come down and up. Keep those hips even. The only reason my head is turned is because I am looking at you. Don't go too fast because you'll lose the work. We want butts. We want the ability to stand and walk easily. Stay here and extend and bend that top leg. Just a couple more. Keep that top leg straight and bring it down and up. Do another pelvis check. Are your hips even? Is your belly button reaching to the sky? And then bend your left knee in. Lean back into a child's pose. Come back into that forearm position. If you need to recheck to make sure your shoulder width, just check. And I don't care where your hands are. They could be right in front of your elbows. They could be more like a triangle. And curl your toes under and find your way into dolphin pose. This is dolphin for yoga. And then slowly walk your feet in and do whatever you need to do to find yourself up to standing. Standing nice and tall. Roll your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. I want you to feel your right ear reaching towards the ceiling. Keep your shoulders even. Let your head start to look over to where the wall meets the ceiling on the right side. Now turn your head and look down at your left armpit. Take your left arm and place it at the very base of your skull and press your head into your hand. Release. Roll your chin center. Lift your head up. Roll your shoulders forward, up, back, and down. And feel your left ear reaching towards the sky. Turn your head to look at the left corner of the room where the wall meets the ceiling. And then turn your head to look down at that right armpit. Take your right hand and just let it be there. And then press your head into your hand. Release. Roll your chin center. Lift your head up. Inhale your hands above your head, palms together. And your hands are a little more in front of you. We don't want to go too far back. Keep your shoulders down. Let's lift up and over towards the left side, feeling a stretch in the right side of our body. Press into that right foot. Come center and switch, going to the right side, stretching the left side. Come back center, and let's bring our thumbs to our third eye, connecting into our intuitive self. Letting that part of you that really gives you those aha moments wake up. Let your thumbs find their way to your hearts, coming into the compassion, the empathy. Let your heads bow, gazing at your fingertips. I wish you all love, peace, joy, and wonderful good health always. Namaste.